Well, we got good news, we got bad news. The good news is we bowled bad 2 days in a row, but we still finished 10th. Well, tied for 8th. We had a three-way tie for 8th, 9th, and 10th at 20 over. So I bowled -5 today. The good news is I figured out what the problem was. The other bad news is it didn't help. As soon as I started throwing it better, all of a sudden my ball reaction got worse. So it was game 3 when I finally figured out what the problem was. The other day, practicing at Waterford, I was practicing on the end pair, and somebody was using Ultra Slide or Easy Slide or something, and it was all over the lane. And it was getting tracked up on my shoes. And I even made a Facebook post about it, or whatever, and shared the images. Said either somebody busted open their bag of Coke on the floor, or they got an awful lot of Easy Slide out there. So my shoes were white, so it probably got caked onto my heel. And I finally figured out that it's my heel that's not allowing me to slow down at the proper time, because I'm used to slide and then heel stops pretty quick, and it wasn't happening. And I don't know why I couldn't figure it out, but finally today in the third game I figured it out. So I changed my heel to a fresh one, and all of a sudden I had leverage, I had power. The problem is, I think my mindset got so stuck on what I was already seeing based on how bad I was throwing it, and based on what the reaction was off of how bad I was throwing it, that when I started throwing it good, I wasn't seeing the same types of things, and it made me confused. Now all of a sudden I'm seeing hooking spots that I didn't see before, and I'm seeing pushing spots that I didn't see before. So it caused some problems. It was game 3, or 3 or 4. I think it was game 4. I hit lanes 5 and 6, and I started that game strike, wrap 10, wrap 10, wrap 10, and I moved each one of those wrap 10s. So I went wrap 10, I moved a little bit, I moved one left, or I moved one right, and I went wrap 10, and then I changed to the weaker purple hammer, because I was using a purple hammer at the time, and I wrapped 10. Then I 4-pin off of a move, which is never a good sign when you 10-pin, 4-pin back to back. So then I said, okay, I'm going to move one left and slow down a little bit, and hopefully it hooks. And I did, and it did, and I stoned 9. So I couldn't, I ended up bowling, I think, 2-0 that game. It was one of my clean 2-0s. I think I had 4 clean games out of the 8 games I bowled today. And they were 190, 190. They were 2 games in the 190s and 2 games 2-0 for 4 clean games. Not good. Actually, I think I had 5 clean games, because I think my 220 was a clean game. The only game I bowled better than 2-0 was 220. It was like 226, I think. And I was committed to urethane early, because the guy Steve that led it used purple hammer all day and just kind of threw it hard straighter. And I'm like, I saw that. I saw the ability of that being there. I just never tried it, because I knew the look was pretty good as you move left. So I just committed to starting with urethane, and I would just go left yesterday. But today I said, okay, I'm bringing in all 3 of my purple hammers, and I'm going to try and stay right with urethane, and I'm going to try and use the different shapes from the different urethanes to keep me there. Didn't work, because even when I was getting there, I couldn't get the pins to fall, and I ended up being, it took, I said at the beginning of the day it was going to take 150 over, and it did. It took 154 over to make the top 4. So I needed basically 130 over a day for the top 8, which is very doable. I was out there for sure. I just couldn't get the pins to fall early, and when they didn't fall early, you have to kind of figure something out. So I started chasing it left, and I did bowl 220. So it made me feel like, okay, my ball reaction got better. So I got a chance at putting up some decent scores, but then, my bad shots came into play again. And, some of the times when I'd have a strike or have a double up there, I'd go up and throw one that I think is pretty good and it'd wrap 10. Wrap 10s were pretty easy to come by. And the weird thing about them in this building, like they weren't the typical, wrap high around the neck of the 10 because it's skinnier there. These would just wrap right around the middle of the pin. And you're watching the ball and it's driving through the pins, it's doing the right thing, and it's splitting the 8-9 and it's still wrapping a 10 pin, and you're like, something doesn't seem right here. Why? Like, our pins off spot, which, there was a couple of pairs that there was some rough racks that we had to deal with, but you get that pretty much anywhere you go. But yeah, today I just didn't know how to explain the amount of wrap 10s that there were. Flat 10s, you can kind of be like, okay, my ball's deflecting, my ball's hooking too early, it's doing something weird. Yeah, I get it, but when you're wrap 10 like that, and you generally you're watching, where's your ball going? Generally when you wrap 10, your ball is, hitting the 9 pin in the face, and that 6 pin is just getting, clipped and wrapped around. Not enough of the 6 pin, not enough of the 3 pins hitting the 6 pin. So you're like half pocket usually, in between where you actually want to be. But this was, man, you could watch the ball go to the left side of the 9 pin and still wrap a 10 pin. It didn't matter. So I don't know if there were certain pairs where the 6 pin was just sitting forward, sitting closer, and you couldn't really tell. I really don't know. I had one shot on lane 6 that I swear, I'm going to have to go back and look at the footage, but I swear it was flush. Like, should have been 10 back, I thought, but I 4-pinned. And it wasn't the typical, high flush 4-pin where you're like, yeah, that was a little high. Could have 4-9 very easily, where like that, the 2-pin just goes around. It goes around the 4-pin instead of hitting the 4-pin. This was weird. This one was, looked like it should have been 10 back. The way the ball went through the pins, where the ball hit between the 1 and the 3, it looked like it was exactly where it needed to be, and that 4-pin just stood there laughing, and you're just like, what was that? Like, holy cow. Like, there were some of the weirdest hits in this building this weekend. So I don't know, I just didn't have it this weekend. We'll just put it that way. I just didn't have what I needed. But I'm okay with that, because if I can bowl bad and still finish in the top 10 and still make money, still do well, like, that tells me I'm on the right path still. Where a couple weeks ago I just bowled awful, and we bowled a doubles tournament, and neither one of us bowled any good, so we missed the cut by a bunch. But this week it's singles event. I was able to kind of just grind it out, get my way through it, finish in the top 10, get a decent check, and call it a weekend. Hopefully keep my points lead. I think the only way I fall out of the lead in the points is if Dombrowski wins, because he made the step ladder in 4th. I think if he finishes first, he goes around me. I've got a little over 1,000-point lead over him going into this. So, and I think you get 2,500 points for winning. But I think second's only like 1,000. But I get points too for finishing in the top 10. So I think he would have to win to go around me. And even though, either way, there's still 3 events left. But if he wins, then I think that's his second win this season, which then means for me to have a chance at Player of the Year, I would have to win one of the next 3 events. So I think whoever wins 2 events is going to end up with Player of the Year. So, or if it comes down to where none of us win 2, it's going to be, a combination of points leader, money, who's made the most money, average, that type of thing. So who's made the most finals, who's cashed the most. So I think I've only not cashed twice out of all the events. Out of I think it's 12 events now. I think I've missed cashing twice. And I've made match play all but 3 events, I think. I think 3 events in a row I missed just barely. And then I started making all the match play again and finishing second and finishing in the top 5 like 3 or 4 events in a row. So I've had a decent season so far. But with 3 events to go, we got Jackson next week, bowling on Viper, which I think is the 37-foot Viper. So it's going to be another Purple Hammer type of weekend. This weekend was iffy. Purple Hammer was in play, but it wasn't the peanuts. It wasn't the ball that you needed to throw. And honestly, I think, being that this is where Motive does all their testing at EJ's place, I think it was 7 of the top 8 were Motive guys, which makes sense. They do all the bowling ball testing there. Motive balls are going to look good in that building. So I made the mistake of not bringing my Motive balls with me. Actually, my Pride got hijacked by the bowling center owner back at Waterford. He took it and was using it in league the other night because he can throw my stuff, so he was kind of checking it out. So I didn't have that to take with me or to bring with me. I probably would have brought it otherwise. I think the only other Motive ball I probably would have brought with me would have been that Supra Enzo. And I don't know where that's at. I think I just forgot it. That would have probably looked good this weekend. But yeah, so we got Jackson next weekend on Viper. Then we get a weekend off. And then we got to travel to Carpentersville, Illinois, on Cheetah. And then the next weekend, the first weekend of November, we got to go all the way down to Anderson, Indiana. So back down to Indy. So it's going to be, or is it Evansville? I hope it's not Evansville. I hope it's Anderson. Oh, please don't be. Evansville is like 7.5 hours. That would not be good. I don't want to make that drive. That's a rough drive. But yeah, 3 events left after this, so we've got to put some good weeks together. We're gonna get a good week of practice in. This week I'm gonna bowl just about every day to get ready. I bought a treadmill for the house to get some cardio in because I can't make it to the gym all the time because I'm lazy. I get up in the morning and it takes me a few hours to actually get moving. It takes me a few hours to actually be able to. I'm the kind of guy that I like to get up early. I'll get up at 7, and I'll have a few cups of coffee, do a little bit of reading. I like to kind of sit around and chill, let that caffeine kick in. So it's probably a couple hours before I finally get moving. So it's probably, I don't know, 10, 10:30, 11 by the time I'm like, okay, now we can get moving. But then I got to get some, video editing and stuff like that done. So, to hit the gym, I'd have to go at like 7 o'clock. But if I'm home, I can, sit around and chill, get my coffee in, do my reading, do some video editing, and then before I take off for work, I can hit the treadmill for a half hour at work. Because the problem is like at the gym, the child care area is only open until 11. So I have to get there by probably 9 to be able to get a full workout in, and not feel rushed and all that. So, and I'm just too lazy to get there on time. And then again, they're not open again until they're open from 8 to 11, where you can take your kids there and they'll watch them in the playroom, and then again from 5 to 8, I think. So they got some weird hours. So from 11 to 5, nobody can take the kids in there, and I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know if it's because of the virus thing going around or whatever still, or if it's just the way their hours are. I don't know, but I don't know. But I bought a treadmill for the house so that way I could put it up in my spare bedroom where my workout room basically is, workout and office is, and that way I get some cardio in every day, even if it's just walking. It'll be at least jogging, but get a few miles in every day and try to get my little cardio in, a little bit better endurance and all that stuff. Get used to doing that every day, so that way when I'm on the road at tournaments, I won't feel so weird. Like for some reason, I don't like when I'm at a hotel. I always want to work out, but I'm like, I gotta bowl. Like I don't want to go and tire myself out or make myself sore the next day. I got all the excuses. Trust me, I've used them all. But bowling is my biggest excuse when it comes to working out and stuff. Like I won't go to the weight room or anything after Thursday, because I know I've got practice Friday and I've got the tournament Saturday. So Thursdays are no-goes. Can't work out on Thursday or Fridays. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I just don't do it. So if I get myself used to at least running for a mile each morning, then I guess I could, be used to going and even when I have to bowl that day, I could go run for a mile before I actually bowl. I don't think that would be an issue. But right now, I think because I'm not used to it, I would tire myself out and I wouldn't have the legs to get me through the event. So I don't want to do that right now. So this week, I will hit the treadmill all week long, and then see how we do. But anyway, sorry, a little bit long chat video, but I wanted to just kind of let you guys know what was going on. Balls of choice this week, actually. Joker Wild looked the best, honestly. I drilled a new graffiti pearl, no graffiti, and a Fantasy Star. The no graffiti was too early and strong. The Fantasy Star was too clean and too whippy down lane, but the graffiti pearl came into play in some spots. It was a little bit slower and smoother down lane, but the Joker Wild was the one that bailed me out whenever I could move left. And then I basically used, Purple Hammer to start a little bit further right. But that's all I got for you. I'm out of here. We will see you guys sometime tomorrow, I'm sure. Tomorrow, I think I'll be posting those new reviews, the two new Radical balls, the Payback and the Trailblazer, and then we've got the Medusa from DVA coming as well. So this week you'll see those videos coming out, and we'll do some also some different types of stuff, and then we're going to finish those Does the CG Matter videos. We've got some stuff going on, getting ready for that this week as well. So I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later. Take care.